sad story to tell you, but it makes a very powerful point. So I just recently heard about an old friend. We'll just call her Gina. We had been disconnected for many years. We were friends way back in my late high school, early college days. Well, I found out recently that she had passed away. She wasn't old at all. Very young, relatively speaking. She could have lived at least another 20, 30 years or more. But the one thing that I remember about her life is that she did not live her life on her own terms. She did not live her life freely, to be who she wanted to be free, to be herself. She didn't live her life like that. From what I was told, in recent years, she became so sad and depressed that it led her to become mentally ill. You see, like myself, she grew up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And I truly believe that is what led her into a state of depression, which contributed greatly to her early demise. You see, her mother was entrenched in the Jehovah's Witness religion. And she essentially forced her to be entrenched also in the religion. For example, she wasn't allowed to go to college. She graduated high school at 16. She was very bright and intelligent, but she couldn't go to college. She ended up in some school, but she really wanted to go to college. I remember that so clearly because I was given support to further my education, especially from my mother, because despite my mother being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, my mother saw the difference it made in her life when she found herself divorced from my JW father and found herself unexpectedly a single parent. And I have a background video over here that talks about that. But for those of you who don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses seriously discourage people from attending college. They stop just short of making it a sin. But anyway, getting back to my former friend, she had wanted to travel. We had even talked about going on a trip at one point. This was a new vision for our lives because we were budding into young adulthood at that time. And it was a time for us to start learning about the world and traveling and doing the things we wanted to do. But her mother shut her down. Her mother told her, no, you can't go. Unless I go, you can't go. Yeah, her mother chose to hijack her daughter's life by limiting her, keeping her involved with Jehovah's Witnesses, and keeping her from expanding her life in so many other areas. So what could Gina do? She was a young adult. She hadn't settled into a job yet. She hadn't started developing her career yet. This would have been the perfect time for her to start spreading her wings and learning to fly. But her mother said, no, you can't do that. She basically clipped her daughter's wings, rendering her flightless, or maybe I should say incapacitated. And that's exactly how Gina lived her life. She was essentially an only child. She had one sibling who was much older than her, so they really didn't grow up together. So she was mostly alone as a child. Her mother tied up her life. Her mother was alone, so she made her daughter her constant companion. As a child growing up in that religion, that made things worse. And at one point, her mother made sure that she became, that Gina, her daughter, became a regular pioneer. Her mother eventually died, but by that time, decades had passed, and Gina was a middle-aged woman. She didn't have anything. I'm sure she had worked and held various jobs over the years, but she never really did anything with her life. She eventually left the Jehovah's Witnesses organization after her mother passed. But at that point, the damage was done. That bright, attractive young lady I once knew disintegrated over the years by having her life taken from her by her mother and her Jehovah's Witness religion. So now, here it is. She died relatively young. You know, I am so thankful that I realized for myself many years ago that I had to live life on my own terms. I wasn't about to live life on somebody else's terms that creates unhappiness. That one thing right there creates unhappiness. And that is what many Jehovah's Witnesses do. They live life on somebody else's terms and they become very, very unhappy. It doesn't matter if it's for a religion or a family or a company or friends, or it doesn't matter, because it leads to the number one regret that people have before they pass away. You know what that number one regret is? They wish they had lived life more fully. Meaning, they're not trying to please other people all the time, making sure they satisfied all the things that they wanted to do for their life. That is the number one regret that they had, because they didn't do it. Put simply, they were living life for others and not for themselves. So what is my message? Your life is your life. It is yours to make into whatever you want. It doesn't matter if people don't support you. It doesn't matter if folks don't agree with it. It doesn't matter if the religion doesn't like it. It doesn't matter if the people down the street don't believe in it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, except what you want to create for your life. What matters is you living life in joy. Living in joy. And how do you do that? You live life on your own terms. What do you think this life's journey is about? That's what this journey is. To discover the joy, the beauty, the fulfillment of the things that you want to do. There's so much. And isn't there an amazing variety to choose from? So many things you can achieve. Think of all the children, and when they are born and they are young, and they begin running around, playing, imagining, and talking about all the wonderful things they're pretending to be superheroes and all types of wonderful magical creatures, and then suddenly, when they listen and they start to hear all the rumblings, the criticism and complaints, starts to penetrate into their mind. And then before you know it, oh no, you can't do that. Don't do this, do that. No, you're not allowed. No, stop. And then they start growing up. And then they start thinking exactly like those people. Those people? Yeah, I'm talking about parents, adults. Yeah, they trick them into believing that they are to stay small, stay quiet, be invisible, live a meaningless life. Just go to work every day and do what they say, and just be quiet and sit down and everything will be all right. Yeah, the adult, the parent. You know what they're really saying? Follow the rules so you'll grow up to be just like me. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that's the same psychology my friend's mother had. I can't do that, so neither can you. Oh no. No, watch out. That psychology leads to a life of hell, you see. There is no other hell other than that. You're not here to be like somebody else. You're here to be you. You. The unique person that you are. No other person on this planet is exactly like you. So it is up to you, you see. Go out. Create a great life. It's never too late. Unless you believe that. Once you start living life on your terms, it will lead you to your path of freedom, happiness, and pure joy. And with that, I'd like to read you a quote from Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And remember, tap that notification bell so you'll be notified when I post new content.